Good day, for this video we will analyze a short story written by Aragon entitled Ang Baliw ng Bayan ng Sili. First is the plot. Second element of the short story is the characters. The protagonist is considered the main character or lead figure in the short story, and I have discovered two. The first one is Eman. He is a flat character because we didn't know what and how he thinks, his personal life, his full name, or his overall backstory. In this analysis, I have considered Eman a static character because he did not undergo any significant changes over the story, but he has served an essential purpose in narrating or delivering in the life story of Indo. Generally speaking, his character helped to improve an overall narrative in various ways, such as his role assisted the development of the main character. The second one is Indong Kagi. He is a wrong character because he possesses relatable strengths and weaknesses, or experiences conflicts. Indong Kagi exhibits change and development in his personality and attitude throughout the story, which makes him a dynamic character. Other characters in the story. The antagonists in the short story are illness, death, and challenges in the life of the main character. The story setting is the small town of Sili. Though it is a fictional setting, the story revolves within the people region, as Naga, Legazpi, Tabaco, and Sorsogon cities were stated or mentioned. In my opinion, and based on my speculation, the author chose Sili because we all know that Bicol is known for it, and as well it is commonly featured in their Magayan Festival. Lansangan Kalyeho ng Sili, kwartal sa harapan ng kolehiyo, sikat na multinational na fast food center, tabing dagat sa Boulevard, daungan na lang siya mula Tabaco Albay. Sorsogon, mga lungsod ng Naga, Iriga, Legazpi, at Tabaco. The subject of the short story is Indong Kagi's life, as he reminisces on how he faced his past, and how he get there to where he is right now, and kung paano at bakit siya tinawag na Baliw or Kagi as recounted based on the perspective of student journalist Eman. Themes of the short story. First is the people power. This story made me realize that we Filipinos have the power and capability to resist any oppression and inequality we undergo while living in a difficult situation. The second is injustices. Sila ay napipilitang kumapit sa patalim at gumawa ng masama kahit aware naman sila dahil sa matinding pangangailangan at tugutungan, gaya noong ginawa ni Indong Kagi na nagresulta ng kanyang kamatayan, and as well his wife Christina nagpapanggan din para makaranas man ng kaginhawaan. But in the end, parang naging anila o alipin lang ito ng mayamang kasiyendero. Yung anak naman nila na si Marshall, na nasa murang edad ay namunod sa katotohanan ng hindi bantay ang ating sistema. At ito ang realidad ng buhay. At tinais niya na maghiganti, or at least denounce the injustices his family experienced. The next is violence and cruelty. Malinaw ito na ipinakita sa kwento na nakararanas si Indong Kagi ng verbal and physical abuse, gaya ng minumura, itinutulak, pinabatukan, at sinisipa pa siya ng mga taong kanya nakakasubo. Though we have no control about what other people might think about us, and we have two choices. It's either you will ignore them and live your life, or prove that you are like what they think about. And so, mas nabili ni Indong Kagi na hayaan na lang niya ang iniisip ng ibang tao, at sundin ang dikta ng lipunan na siya ay isang baliw. But in fact, he can think normally. Sinabi na lang niya na mas gusto niya dahil nararamdaman niya na nag-i-exist siya. I have found three moods within the story. First is oppressiveness, in which it is marked by unjust tyrannical behavior. Ang halimbawa nito ay yung nangyari kay Indo sa kanyang pamilya, at yung sa college president ni Eman. Secondly is melancholy, which the story gave me a depressingly sad and dark feeling, as illustrated noong bumagyo noong malakas. The third is tense na nagbigay sa akin ng mental at emotional suspense, lalo na noong malapit na sa part ng ending. Point of view. The story is told in a first-person point of view, FN. Conflicts. This story was both internal and external. Man versus himself. The first in the external conflict is man versus society. The next is man versus man. Another is man versus nature. Symbols that have seen in the short story. First is Indong Kagi, na kahit na todo ang kanilang pagsisikap, ay di pa rin nakakamit ang mga simple pangarap na mapagaan kahit pa paano ang kanilang pamumuhay. At hanggang ngayon ay sasadlak pa rin sa kahirapan. Second one is Eman, who represents the few individuals who are genuinely concerned, brave, and have the heart or willingness to know the story and help those driven in our society's streets like Indong Kagi. Pangatlo ay sinisimulan ni Christina ang ilaw ng tahanan at isang babaeng larawan ng pagiging simple at pagkakontento. Ngunit nang lumaan ay lumisan, hindi upang isalba ang pamilya sa kahirapan kung hindi upang magpalangan sa kanilang kagustuhan. Si Marshall naman ang sumisimulan sa mga taong tumitindig upang ipaglaman ang mga at ang nararapat para sa mahihirap, marginalized, at para na rin sa lahat. Sadly, ang ilan sa mga katulad ni Marshall ay minakasama ng ating lipunan, at ang worst ay pinapatahimik tulad noong nangyari sa kanila. The next one is tulad ng mga karaniwang tao sa paligid, ang siklo, pulis, at mga osisero at osisera, na sumisimbolo rin ang lipon ng ginagalawan natin, na humuhusga at kumikitay sa buhay ng ilang mga taong para sa kanila ay kakaiba. The next is the streets of Sili, symbolizes the world, which is broad and violent, as it is inhabited by judgmental and nasty people, especially for those like Indong Kagi. The streets became his little world, wherein he experienced discrimination and cynicism daily. On the other hand, the storm symbolizes range of emotions, or buot ng Diyos as Indo mentioned it. Additionally, the events foreshadow that something unfortunate and negative would happen, so the next thing occurred. Nang matapos ang bagyo, nag-ausap sila ni Eman. Si Indo ay lumipas sa kalangitan. Para sa akin, ang ginawa niya ito ay sumisimbolo ng kalayaan, kaginhawaan, at pagtanggap. Halimbawa, every time na umakyat tayo sa matataas na lugar o bundok, tumiti pa tayo upang damhin ang hangin. At ito ay nakakapagdulot sa atin ng kaginhawaan sa pakiramdam. At nararamdaman din natin na tayo ay malayo. Maaaring inisip ni Indong Kagi na kahit na anong mangyari o maging consequences ng kanyang mga gagawin, ay malugod niya itong tatanggapin. Kung kaya't inilarawan ni Eman na ito'y tumahalakak pa. Tinatanggap niya na ayos na sa kanya ng lumis ang dahil kahit pa paano ay may isang tao na napagkatiwalaan at napagkasabihan niya ng kanyang totoong pagkatao at kwento at may makakaalala na sa ating mundong ginagalawan ay nag-exist ang isang Prince Window manangin. Though I have realized that in Dolly life full of injustices, his problem and struggle started because of it, which his grandfather and parents experienced too, and it seems that fate passed it on to his own family, up until that also symbolizes rebirth, and Emman's whys have been answered, for the reason that Indong's death might have been a new beginning for something that will help him to fight for justice, and always defend the right thing, that is following the moral and social standards. Indong Kagit's death is a very symbolic one, because it represents change.